Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the DVC Show. Coming up, we're going to talk about the proposed new DVC tower at the Disneyland Hotel in Anaheim. Coming up next. The DVC Show is brought to you by DVCstore.com. You'll save thousands of dollars on your next DVC contract when you let the experts at the DVC Store help welcome you home. Visit them on the web at www.dvcstore.com or call 1-800-550-6493. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friend, Sean Falk.
Hi.
Jackie Gailey.
Hi, guys.
From the DVC Store, Jamie Carr.
Hey, everybody.
And back in the production nook, our producer, Mr. Corey Fiescanaro.
Welcome home.
And also joining us via Skype, as always, the lovely and talented Mr. Pete Shidley.
Hello.
And Kat.
Say hi. And Kat.
Abby's not in here, right? She wasn't here before.
She's
Okay.
out.
So, okay, folks, welcome to the show. Before we get started, just a couple of little plugs. What do I want to plug? I want to plug DVC Fan, dvcfan.com. That's my blog, my DVC blog. Lots of great stuff going up on there, so go check that out. And also, just want to let you know that while DVC Store is always happy to sell you a DVC contract, they're also happy to help you sell yours if you want to get rid of it. So just give them a call, 1-800-550-6493. They'll step you through the whole process, nice and easy. And, so if you want to sell your contract, I don't know why you'd want to, or maybe you do. Maybe you want to sell it to buy
A new one.
a new one, because this came out of left field. This announcement last week that Disney, they are proposing a new Disney Vacation Club tower to be built at the Disneyland Hotel out in Anaheim. Being proposed a 350-unit, 280,000 square foot tower right next to or behind the Frontier Tower at the Disneyland Hotel. Now, this is proposed. This is not approved. This is proposed. The City Council has to approve it. I don't think they would have put it forward at this point, given what happened with the hotel that they were going to build, and then they had this terrible this battle with the city council, and they ended up scrapping the whole thing. So this is what's being built in its place, basically, not on the same land, because that was going to take over the front parking lot of Disneyland Hotel and a big portion of downtown Disney, where Earl of Sandwich and the AMC theaters are.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was going to go between the Disneyland Hotel and the monorail, kind of.
Yeah.
Well,
And
the monorail.
yes, it was going to go between Disneyland Hotel and the monorail, but it was going to extend out to where, it was going to take over basically that front parking area in by the Disneyland Hotel. So this is kind of taking its place. This is going to be 350 units is what they're proposing. Now, keep in mind, the Grand Californian has a grand total of 71 DVC units.
Earth-shattering.
That right now, resale is the only way to buy these because they're not even waitlisting them anymore with Disney to buy them direct. And they're selling for what? What does a Grand Californian sell for right now?
$200 a point.
At least.
Yeah.
At least $200 a point.
Yeah.
So it begs the question. What are these going to retail for? Let's assume that they get it. Let's assume they build it. I don't think you're going to. I think the intro direct price here is going to be $225 a point. I think that's where they're going to start.
Yeah.
That's where I was thinking, realizing also that we're talking 3 years from now before they're selling it, probably.
True.
And there's more villas, so you have to weigh supply and demand. The supply is definitely there, but there's more villas than at Grand Cal, which, they have to take that into consideration as well.
Well, You're talking, though, one of the things they proved with the Grand Californian was that the Disneyland set was absolutely going to plunk their money down. And let's be honest, we're talking Southern California. The area that we're talking about is a very affluent area. It is predominantly a locals park. 80% of the turnstile at Disneyland are locals, 20% are tourists. So I'm telling you right now, I think this is going to sell out. You know, we're talking about how Riviera's not selling. This is not going to be a problem here. And interestingly enough, has anyone else noticed that now again, I haven't scoured all the comments, but in the comments I'm seeing on social, the comments I'm seeing on disboards.com, I'm not seeing people talking about I'm not buying it because of resale restrictions. I'm not seeing that.
They're buying it.
For me, this immediately caught my interest because of the supply and demand thing. You look at Walt Disney World, and the supply and demand is a lot different because there's so many options for you here. But in Disneyland, you just have Grand Californian. And, you know, we go to Disneyland for work, and I come back and I'm like, oh, Steakhouse 55 is so good. This thing and the other thing. And Haley's like, when are you going to take me? I'm like, well, I mean, as far as my DVC points are concerned, I pretty much can't get a room at the Grand Californian at all. So this was extremely interesting for me.
If you don't own at the Grand Californian, it's highly unlikely you're going to stay there.
Yeah, that's what I found.
And previously, the push to buy direct was that you could also use your points at Disneyland Hotel and Paradise Pier. So buyers always had a pretty good objection that they weren't going to buy resale because if Grand Cal was full, they could stay at Paradise Pier or Disneyland. So this is going to be interesting to see if it takes more of a resale play because now you've got other options.
Yeah. So I'm very excited by this, but I just thought it was hysterical that along with the announcement, everybody was like, "Take my money, take my money."
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, I you know, they did a poll on the DVC fan Facebook page, and the question was, "Are you buying?" And I said, "Yeah, you can put me down. I mean, I have never bought direct, and I'm interested." And I think the resale restrictions are not as big an issue there because you're going to have. Why are you buying there? You're buying there to stay there, right? I mean, even as a direct purchaser. Same thing resale. If you're buying at the Disneyland Hotel, you're not buying that so that you can stay at Boardwalk or Bay Lake Tower. You're buying it to stay in California. So I think from a resale standpoint, I don't think the resale restrictions will be as big an effect. Because right now you're looking at Riviera, I can only stay at Riviera, or I buy at, for example, Copper Creek, and I can stay at 10 different resorts at Disney World. But that won't be the case there. That'll be the case of, I can, I'm stuck at the Disneyland Hotel, but that's where I want to buy it. So I just don't see it as having the same effect.
I agree. I think that, like I said, I think this is going to be an unqualified hit. I really do. And let's see what kind of units they put in there.
Yeah, for me, it has to do with minimums. I wouldn't want 100 points just because I personally wouldn't need that many points. I don't go to Disneyland long enough. Like I might go for like 2 or 3 nights at the top end of it. So I would never go like a week in order to be needing an excessive amount of points to go. So that would be
every time we've ever gone to Disneyland, we've been there a week.
I know, but I wouldn't do it on my own like that. So it's just, I don't need that much time there because the park is smaller. So I would go just a couple days, but there's other things I want to do in the area. Or I would do it as just my holdover with me going out to Alani to get used to the time zone or something for like 2 or 3 days. But I wouldn't need a full, I would never want like 250 points or something.
But you already own, right?
At Alani, yeah.
Right, so your minimum could be 25.
Oh, right.
So
yeah.
the 100 would be like if somebody, and
Right,
again, they may do away with that just to fill the market.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning, they might say the minimum is 150. Usually the 100 comes in when the sales aren't aren't moving the way that they want them to. So with that one, they'll probably start high for a new buyer. But the other part of that would be if you don't own and you're buying, go back to resale, and you're buying resale, the membership card doesn't get you a whole lot at Disneyland. So a lot of people at Disney World, it's the membership card. But if you bought resale, again, the discounts at Disneyland are minimal with the membership card. I think the annual pass holder discount is extremely minimal. Like $25 or something like that. On the annual pass at Disneyland.
On the annual pass. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm buying the annual pass. I
Yeah.
agree. I'm just saying, I thought it was about annual pass discounts at Disneyland. Annual pass discounts at Disneyland are like nothing
They're
I've ever seen
non-existent,
before. No,
really.
they're phenomenal.
Oh.
No, I'm not talking about the price of buying the annual
Okay.
pass as a DVC
Like the
member.
perks
I'm
of having
talking
an annual
about
pass.
as an annual pass
okay.
a pass holder at Disneyland. The discounts are ridiculous. But
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I think I'm very, very excited. I really am.
Now with 350 rooms, like what traditionally, obviously there will be a good mix of like 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms.
Well, I think we're
3.
going to see some of these tower studios. That was a big hit for, in terms of Riviera. Now, no one's actually seen one yet, but the tower studios were
The interest is
very, very, very high interest. Of course, there's 20 of them at Riviera, and you're never going to touch one unless you own at Riviera and you're booking 11 months out. But I think you'll see some of those. I think you'll see a normal kind of spread. You'll have some grand villas.
I think you'll see a regular mix like you have at Riviera. You might have a few extra dedicated studios and 1 bedrooms, but I think you'll have like kind of a half and half dedicated 2 bedrooms and the lock off 2 bedrooms, and then you'll have a few extra studios. So I think it'll be similar to that. I think they'll get people that come with their family and everything like that. So I think they'll still need the 2 bedrooms.
I will say, I think that one of their bigger markets and I think 225, they'll easily be able to sell it out with that for a point, like per point. I think because the big chunk of people who come down and that would need that are actually still fairly located in California and Arizona area too, even branching out as far as Texas. Like it is such a locals park, but we used to go all the time. My family, we lived in Sacramento, and it's a solid 6 to 8 hour drive from Sacramento to get there. And we would go, once every other month, and we would just drive down there and do it. San Francisco's about the same way. So they, that's a really, really affluent area where people actually need to come down and stay, and they would plan out because they already plan out because it's already an 8 hour drive. So they'll plan in advance to take a trip down there, but they have the money to be able to afford this.
Yeah. Well, I think obviously with the locals, like, as I was saying before, just, whether it's in Southern California or California in general, you're going to see huge interest for this. I think it's going to explode. So I'm very, very excited. I had predicted that this was going to go as part of Paradise Pier, because I know they're getting ready. They haven't announced anything yet, but I know they're getting ready to do some major stuff to Paradise Pier. Good. Yeah, good is right. And I thought this was going to be it, that they would add some kind of, DVC component, because there's space there. And technically, where they're talking about putting this is right between Disneyland Hotel and Paradise Pier. So I wasn't far off. I just had the wrong hotel.
I'm hoping that those of us who own at Walt Disney World DVC resorts will have the chance at 7 months to maybe get in there after this. I don't know. I'm not holding my breath though.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a little bit better chance. I mean, you are talking, what did we say, 6-7 times the number of rooms.
Yeah.
So I think you will see slightly more availability, but it'll go really fast, I think, in 7 months.
Yep,
Yeah.
it sure will. So we will find out. Again, this is all speculation right now. They've basically just proposed this. They've not announced it. It's not been approved by the city council. So, but I think sometimes Disney puts out leak stuff like this because they want to gauge interest. I think especially right now they're a little gun shy after Riviera. So if this was a test balloon, I think they're out. I think they're out behind Disneyland Hotel digging stuff up now.
Yeah, right now. Yep.
Because the response was extraordinary, and this will be.
But that's the thing is, if the response is extraordinary, then they're way less likely to pull back those restrictions that they're putting on Riviera and Reflection, like on all these new ones. Because if this happens and it's a huge success,
you know what? Maybe the restrictions belong out in California, where they have a more, it's a lot fewer options out there, as opposed to out here where they're not working. And I'm hearing things. I've got nothing solid yet, but I'm hearing things that there are discussions going on about rolling back the restrictions. But we're not there yet. So very excited about this. Let's hope it actually comes to pass, because this would be awesome. So that's going to do it for this week's episode of the DVC show. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again next week.